Germany's Chancellor Scholz says German troop deployment to Ukraine is out of the question for me.
Ravi, you're just going to have to wait. Trap. I'll explain. But trap. You're so impatient. Dude, you're so impatient. It's the fun of finding out. Okay, welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus and the ADP Report. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. All the trades we discuss are for educational purposes, and it is possible to lose money trading futures, so please trade carefully. Okay, everyone, give me a heads up and let's get started. Let me know that you can hear very well and that you can see the charts just fine. I want to welcome all our friends that are watching us this morning on YouTube. We're streaming. It's only Wednesday, or you could say it's already Wednesday. The week is going by. And we need to talk about the ADP report. We're a minute early, so let's just chill for a second, let everybody get here. What's the first thing you have to do? If this is your first look at trading this morning, you might want to go to the website time.is and make sure that your computer is in sync with the rest of the world. That's always a good thing to do. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to time.is. And look, my clock is ahead. That almost never happens. So what do you do if your time sync test fails? So then we have our tools. We have our programs, Dimension 4 or Karen's Time Sync. So I've got one of each of those programs installed on my computer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the program, the sync program, in a moment here. For instance, Dimension 4, which is the one that I like to use. When I call up Dimension 4, I have a Sync Now button, and I'm going to look at the Synchronized button. And I just press the Sync Now button a couple of times, watching out of the corner of my eye that the Synchronized button is changing. If that changes, I can get rid of my dimension 4, go back to time is from scratch. All right? Go back to time is from scratch. And if it didn't work, like it's very unusual that it doesn't work, I'll do the sync now procedure again. I'll make sure I shut down my time is, shut it down all the way to the beginning of life, right? Start it again, and now I'm in sync. Notice your time is exact. Every now and then it might need me to do it twice, but that's a rarity. Most of the time, it's instant. And it only takes one time, and it usually works perfectly. And that's what you do to make sure that you're in sync. All right? And it's important. We talk about it all the time. It's important to be in sync. Son of a gold. Got a magnet trade taking place. Going to test the low. It's perfect magnet. It already tested the VWAP, which it does all day long. But why do I think it's going to test? You got a negative, little bit of a negative trend here. And it's just got that behavior pattern. It's going to test the low before our report. Well, I'm making a mess of myself this morning. That's what it looks like. I think I have a broken coffee cup. Yep. Anyway, I'm not going to rush into a magnet trade right now. If I was alone by myself in my office, I would probably take that magnet trade. But we have a trade to discuss. And it's not difficult to put it on either. Right-click the chart, click on strategy, magnet trade, high of day, low of day. Let's put a 5% proximity. Just for fun here. Put it on number 6. Enabled the trade. It's probably a fill. It's almost a fill. I would want to be filled right in this area here. That's where I'd want to get filled. Let's just watch it for fun. But there's a possibility that could happen. Now, look, sometimes magnets can be screwed up because they're around news. A lot of times the market, you don't get normal behavior when you're right around news because the market is waiting for the report. So that's a little bit extra area of risk for a magnet trade. We're right around news. So we're just watching it. I don't have it on to trade. I have it on just to watch. If I wanted it to trade, I would press the button and put it on auto. Okay? But I want to talk about ADP because it's an important trade. So Ravi in the trade room asks, well, how do you want to trade it? We have two setups. We have two setups. If you notice, we have a breakout. And our breakout.
Order submitted.
I took that magnet trade. Let's just watch for a second.
Order filled.
Bingo. Quick $110, folks, on that trade. A quick 110. That was all set up almost completely automatic. That's why I like these trades. If you catch them at the right time, then they really are great. They really can be great. Liz, very, very important question. The key to the magnet is levels on the chart. Absolutely. I've got on the chart, and I'm only going to talk about this for a minute. Then we'll go back to ADP and we can talk about the magnet after. The key is levels on the chart. I've got high and low, free levels, indicators, current, high, current day OHL, pivots, use the ninja pivots, okay? Ninja pivots. Any other indicators you like that are popular that people look at. But I love the low of day and high of day. They, excuse me, are my favorite. They get tested all the time. And the only other catch is I like generally for my click right chart, right click data series, and I like the trading hours in general to be use instrument settings. Trading hour template, use instrument settings. That just adjusts your pivots and your indicators from the close of business when the futures close at the end of the trading day, each day at 6 p.m. Okay? That's when I do my calculating. If you do default 24/7, then it calculates pivots from midnight. I like 6 p.m. And it's a question. I'm always hesitating. It's not 6 p.m. We discovered that we were wrong with our exact time that they calculate. It may be when they open, not when they close, because it's a different number, because there's a gap between 6 p.m., 5 p.m. close, 6 p.m. open. There's a gap. It's a traded, it's like an invisible movement of a market because the market's theoretically closed, but it's still trading in the background. It's just that we can't trade it because the market's closed. Anyway, you saw quick magnet. It didn't have to work, but I love them. I love them, and that's why we designed this software. Okay, ADP. The question from Ravi is, are you going to trade it as a trap or are you going to trade it as a breakout? So if you notice, we have a trap setup and we have a breakout. I did some calculations very quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 previous. We have 6 previous on the DMM and we have a 50-50 trade. Okay. I still consider this a family money trade, even with a 50-50, because this is a trade that it has a history of giving us a profit. So I'm still willing to trade it, even as a breakout. But when I look at the trap, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 winners out of the last 8, no losers, but no fills, 3 no fills. So we did do some adjusting on our tiers at one point to make them a little tighter. The point being that it's been a very good trap. It's been a very good trap. Now, if we get a huge explosion, it could stop because our tiers, it's been moving a little bit less. If it moves 46, if we get the kind of move that we had last month with our setup, first of all, what am I doing? I'm just going through the previous video, trade room video from last month. 22 and 35-ish was our trap. 22 and 35. We used 22 and 37. Okay? It's important to know those numbers. And here's what happened. There's our trap trade orders. There's your winning gold breakout. And here comes our winning trap trade. Bingo. We're now in safety on our reversal, and we're making money on our trap trade. They both made money last month. It reversed, but it was slow enough to give people a profit on gold, okay, on the breakout. Here's the way I'm trading it today. Trap trade. A lot of new people, so let me just go a little slower for the new folks. Right click the chart. If you have the software loaded, which most folks should, if you have a problem loading the software, we could talk after this trade in the room. And excuse my breathing. Grandkids, they just give me these colds every month, but they really got me this month. Right click the chart. I know I'm a little bit young to have grandkids. My kids got married very young. Right click the chart, click strategies, double click trap trade. And now I've got position size 1 means I've got one contract. Position size 2 means I have a second contract. I'm going to activate this event at 9, at 8. I always think everything's 10 o'clock. 8, 14,
So Russia
and
says
55
November crude
seconds.
output is almost in line with OPEC
5
plus
seconds
goals.
before the news. 5 seconds before the news, my orders are going to go on the chart. I'm going to increase the stop by 5 to increase our zone of safety by 5 ticks. Okay, it increases our risk, but increases our zone of safety by 5 ticks. My tier 1 is 20. My tier 2 is 35. And my zone of safety is 35 plus 25, 60 ticks. If we get a 70 tick move, we get stopped out. But it hasn't been moving like that for months and months and months and months. It just hasn't been. 6 months, you can see it. It just hasn't been having those kinds of moves, okay? But you notice we've been getting some good reversals, 40 ticks, even on the winners, okay? I'm going to label the trap trade GC trap. No big deal there. And I'm going to trade it in the, I'll trade it in that prop account that I just traded in. No, I'm trading it in my favorite account, my best account. So I believe in this trade. So I have one account that I'm close to passing. I'll risk that account. I only trade what I feel are the best of the best events in that account. Hey, look, if I lose, I'm not going to ever, I never cry in a corner. We used to joke about that years ago. Calvin, the trap is on the DMM. And Calvin, you don't remember what I have said to you in our emails. You have to, you're on the
Secured overnight
email,
financing rate
you're on
4.64%,
my
December
email
3rd,
list.
unchanged from December 2nd.
You have to make sure you look at my emails and the website. My emails and the website. Calvin, send me an email
In
after this
Redfin's
event,
2025
please.
forecast, they say pent-up
Okay?
demand will lead to more home sales, but
That's
many
the
would-be
trap
buyers will
setup.
opt to
That's
rent.
the trap setup. One more time. Let me show it to everybody. I'm choosing the trap trade. Right-click the chart, click on strategy, choose JOBB trap trade, double-click it. Position size 1 is a 1, position size 2 is a 1. I'm going to activate. It's an 8:15 event, so I'm going to activate at 8:14:55. Stop 25 and tiers 20 and 35. You could do 33 if you wanted to take a little bit more risk. It would get filled a couple of ticks quicker. But I think you're fine. I think our tiers are good for the way this has been trading for many months. It's a good setup. And then choose the account that you're trading, label your trade, okay? And then apply it and okay it. When you apply it and okay it, it shows up on the control panel, and then you have to enable it. It's enabled, and then you get your icon, which tells you that your software is activated and ready to trade. I like the breakout on this trade too. This trade, the breakout, it works pretty well. It's not a bad setup. It's been a setup that we've traded for many, many years. I just like the trap trade better, okay? I like the trap trade better. If I were going to trade, and I'm only going to trade the trap this morning, I don't want to be paying attention to two trades. It sometimes can be tricky to manage a trap trade, and this is important. Just click strategy, right click the chart, click strategies, click JOBB version 11. Remember, our magnet is there, right? You can leave it. And now we have a breakout trade. We're going to activate the trade at 8:14:59. Our yellow line on the DMM is our trade setup. So I'm activating at 8:14. The bracket is 12. Position size 1 is a 1. Position size 2 is a 1. Our targets, I think the targets are a tiny bit small. Okay, remember, targets aren't in
At
stone.
8:15 a.m. Eastern
They're
Time, we get US
ranges.
ADP employment
I
gain
think on a
forecast
target,
150K on the
I
prime
would be more interested in
233K.
something like an 8 and a 20, 8 and 25 on my targets. And then the stop is 20. And you know me, especially this trade has a history of doing a lot of directional changes. So I'm going to use the target one stop move feature of the software. If my target one gets hit, the software has the ability to move the stop automatically, let's say to BE break even minus 4 ticks, 4 ticks in front of entry. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to label the trade breakout, BRK, BRK. Just differentiate it from your other setup. Doesn't matter what you label it, just you need to be able to differentiate it from your other setup. and I'm going to apply it, but I'm also going to just for an instant here, I'm going to set the time to 0 on the activation time. The first number is going to be 0. Apply it and OK it. Make sure that your charts are on sim and make sure your software is on sim, that your account for the breakout is on sim, because I'm going to test my brackets right now. The account's on sim. I'm going to enable the trade early. Time is 0, because I want to make sure I can manage my brackets.
Order submitted.
See how tight they are? I don't like that. I want that. I want to be able to manage my brackets. I want to be able to manage my trade. Okay?
Order canceled.
It also shows us, is our bracket safe given the volatility of this current market in gold?
Order
Now, gold,
submitted.
it won't give you a bracket till this price movement, because you have to have price movement to calculate a bracket. So we should be manageable. We only
Order
need a
canceled.
second before the news. So I've checked to see that my bracket, my trade is manageable, and I'm going to go back to strategy, go back to the breakout, and put my time back to 8:14:59. Position size 1 is a 1. Position size 2 is a 1. I have a bracket of 12. Targets of 8 and 20. Break even -4 on my target 1 stop move, and my stop is 20. Apply. Okay. Remember, I'm just simming the breakout. I'm live on my trap. Sorry. Question is, do you need 2 accounts? If you want to try 2 different strategies, you do not need 2 accounts. But if you want to try 2 strategies on the exact same instrument, you have to use 2 different accounts. One can be sim, one can be, you could have multiple prop accounts, which most people do. I don't know anybody who has just one single prop account. But if you're going to trade the same instrument 2 different ways, then yes, you must do it on 2 separate accounts. Otherwise, it'll interfere. The trades will interfere with each other. Now, Calvin, if you're trading the MNQ on this, Calvin has an MNQ method of trading, and he uses, and Chantal and I kind of discussed this, how you don't need a 200 tick stop. That's not always the issue, but it's working for a lot of trades for
At
Calvin.
8:15 a.m.
He's got an
Eastern Time, we
MNQ
give you
setup
ADP
that he likes.
employment change forecast 150K on the
And if
prior
you use a gigantic
233K.
stop on almost any trade, you can survive almost any whipsaw. That's why that 200 tick stop size works. He has an MNQ setup that very often has to be managed manually in a very aggressive way. But we'll talk about that a little bit later, because we have a different, unusual setup in our ISM services trade today. So, but when you're trading micros, you can afford the luxury of a gigantic stop. And micros are really great for trading magnets, because the big deal with magnets are stop sizes. A lot of times a magnet works, but if you get scared of your stop, you will not trade magnets well. The key to trading magnets well is give your stops room to breathe. But we'll talk about that more also as time goes on. Are other people having sound questions? I'm not going to change the mic right now, but I could change it after the news. I'm using an extremely high quality mic today. My favorite mic broke and I had to send it back to Razer. It'll probably be 2 weeks until I get it back. And I'm not moving, truth. I'm just sitting in a chair. So we're waiting now. We have 2.5 minutes. Let's just watch the markets. 4 orders are going to show up on the left-hand chart. Our tiers are going to show up 5 seconds before the news. The gold breakout's going to take place on the right chart, but it's not live. Our trap trade, my trap trade is live. Okay, I'm just reading the sound comments. A slight background hum. That's, Larry, that's a new one. What was it? About 2 weeks ago in the trade room, a couple of us tested 12 mics. And I just went through all these mics that I have to see which ones were the best. So we're also streaming on YouTube. So it's important. The mic I use, I always use try to use an especially good mic when we're streaming, just to make sure there's no issues. I mean, I don't ever want issues to begin with. 8:13 and 38 seconds here. We have an 8:15 event. We have an event that in some ways has gotten less important than it used to be 2 years ago. That is one thing I would say about this ADP report. It's about 2 years ago, if not longer, that they actually reworked the report. A lot of people don't even know what the ADP company is. They are a payroll company that does payrolls for other companies. In other words, if you have a corporation and you don't want to spend the money and hire the staff to do your own payrolls, calculating payroll taxes, it's very complicated stuff. Well, that's what ADP does. So the thought is they have an inside look at the jobs market. That's why this report has been important. Okay, the news is going to come out shortly. Our orders are going to show up in 5 seconds.
Order submitted.
There's our orders.
Order submitted.
146K, 146K lower than forecast.
And we're just not seeing very much of a move here. I would cancel gold. I would cancel gold. I'm being very conservative. We have a negative trend in gold, and we have a move that should move gold up. Cancel gold. Breakout, 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 breakout. And the trap,
order
it's
submitted.
too darn small. It's too darn small. I'm leaving it because I think if it fills, I would want to be short because gold is negative and this number is not meaningful.
Order filled.
I'm not worried that I'm filled, okay? I think that there's a good possibility this will reverse. It's the right direction. It's the direction I want to be. I want to be short because gold already has a short move. Now, I can move my first target, right? I can shrink my first target. If it keeps going up, I'm going to get my second tier to fill. That's not the end of the world. That still, we could still get a reversal. I'm not loving, I don't love trap trades that don't reverse more quickly, to be honest.
Order filled.
Now, of course, the breakout worked perfectly, so of course I have to apologize.
Order filled.
Now I'm a little bit concerned about my gold trade because I don't like the direction gold is pushing very strongly to the upside. I wanted to be short, which I am, so we need a change in direction to take place. So let's see what happens. And we need some movement. What I would do in this trade, because it has not been a good reversal, I would combine my orders. I would combine my orders here. I haven't done it yet. I'm watching the price to see what the price decides to do. I think this trade's in trouble. I could close the trade. I could close the trade now for a smaller loss, or I could wait and see if we still get a reversal. It certainly doesn't have the look of a great reversal. You know, it hasn't really behaved the best way for the ADP report. But I'm probably going to bite the bullet. Gold still has some negativity, but I think it's in trouble. I think our trade is in trouble. Now, of course, I feel silly for canceling the breakout, but it really didn't break. It just sat. You know, it kind of just sat there. So sometimes you make a decision. It's not the best decision. The breakout worked. Breakout was fine. It was slow, but it worked fine. So we need a little bit of a miracle
At 8:30 a.m. Eastern
on
time,
this
get
trade
Canadian
still.
labour productivity rate
We
forecast
need that
-0.3%
downward
on the prime,
move to work.
-0.2%.
It's not
We also
working.
expect comments from ECB's Lagarde.
It's really
who
not
gives
working.
introductory statement and appears before the Committee on Economic
And
Monetary
it's not going
Affairs
to work. I mean,
of the
I've just
European
traded so
Parliament in
many of these
Brussels.
trades.
Order
We're doomed.
canceled.
We're doomed. So unfortunately, I've damaged my favorite account. All right, my favorite account. Let's look at the video. Look at the video. It's a magnet to the VWAP, which hurt us. Also, you just get those levels pulling. Those levels pull. So it is a shame. This report has not had a stop out in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. 8 months. So I'm willing to trade it. I'm willing to take that risk if we have 8 months of no stop. Let's take a look at the way that it didn't work. I mean, look, there were signs that you can see that do sometimes spell trouble. When a trade generally is slow, the way this was slow, that can spell trouble because it spells more of a trend, which is what we saw. We saw a trend in one direction, no reversal. It never gave us an opportunity for profit. There was no opportunity. So if there's no opportunity for profit, the smart thing to do would have been to cancel. But with the gold negative trend in place, not a very big number in the offset, wasn't that big of a number that it should have pushed gold as strongly to the upside. There were a lot of reasons why it still made sense to let the trade fill. But let's just take a quick look at what happened. Gold is just pushing hard. Let's take a look at the video, and then we'll meet back here at 9:30 for ISM services. So what are some things that can help you in the future to possibly decide if you should take a trade or not? So I'll show you what happened here. And one thing, so here's the moment of the news. So the first thing is not much of a response, all right? The news is out, and we just don't have a response. The best kind of trap trade pops up and gives you a fill, and then you're just waiting for a reversal. In this case, the news was out for 20 seconds, no fill, not even on the breakout. No fill for 25 seconds, not even on the breakout. No fill for 30 seconds. It was not unreasonable to cancel the breakout. It was actually quite reasonable. There was no definitive concept taking place here that said gold was going to push, 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 and push. Especially because, yes, the news was bullish, but not overly bullish. It was not overly bullish. And then on the trap, I was willing to let it fill because we still have a gold trend to the downside. Remember, our magnet trade made money on the downside. So it wasn't that foolish. And actually, we did have a tiny couple of seconds of profit there, $20. We never had an opportunity to move to safety with our stop, anything like that. So when a report doesn't reverse, when that's the whole concept behind your trade, there's not a lot you could do. You could exit early. And yes, I could have exited early.
Eastern time, we get Canadian labor productivity rate.
It almost had a moment there where it looked like it was actually going to change direction, and then it
we also
didn't.
expect comments from
Now, for anybody that stayed in the breakout worked. All you had to do was stay in it. Staying in a breakout for more than 30 seconds is not so common, though. More often than not, we would not stay and wait 30 seconds for that news event to work as a breakout. That's not its history. Its history is not wait 30 seconds for the breakout. If it was, that would be part of our setup. We would tell people, hey, this doesn't fill very quickly as a matter of course. And I almost thought we were going to get a chance to get some profit. But if you notice, the squeeze never helped us. It never really changed direction. So anyway, I want to thank everyone for watching on YouTube. I'm going to shut down our YouTube stream. If you'd be kind enough, hit the like button, and we will be streaming the U.S. jobs report on Friday. So we'll be back here. So I'm going to close the stream, and I thank you all for joining with us today. So thank you.